We can do whatever. Cop abuses his authority because he was offended. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers officer conduct, reasonable suspicion, and free speech, and was submitted anonymously, but was originally featured on the Lackluster YouTube channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor below and give them the credit.
Damn, look at them videos, bruh. Look at how many views they got.
That they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode. Thanks again to Cove for sponsoring
That's
this
actually
episode.
a lot
on
of
May 9th, 2020.
I usually don't comment on ads. That's a fucking discount, though. 68%? Jesus Christ.
21. Two individuals who wish to remain anonymous were walking near the intersection of Del Mar Boulevard and Delcrest Drive in University City, Missouri to meet up with one of their friends who was on break at his workplace. As the two rounded a corner, one of the individuals made an obscene gesture at a passing police cruiser. Sergeant Larry Beckton of the University City Police Department allegedly came to a stop and engaged in a brief verbal exchange with the individual before deciding to exit his patrol vehicle and confront the citizen.
You guys live over here?
Free speech is a First Amendment.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But do you live over here?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see your ID. I need to see your guys' ID.
No, thanks. What crime are we
Okay.
suspected of?
Okay, you guys are aimlessly walking out around here?
We're not.
Oh no, dude. Oh no, dude.
Aimlessly walking out. Sir.
No, I
do
need
this all the time.
Okay, do you live over here?
Yes, I live in this neighborhood.
Okay, I need to get your ID from you.
No,
Give me your name.
Sir, no, thank you. Have a
No,
nice day.
it's not an option.
I'm gonna keep walking.
No, you're being detained right now. Both you guys are being
Why?
detained
Why?
for suspicious activity. You're aimlessly
What?
walking around.
How?
I need to see your ID.
I don't have my ID. I'm
Sir.
sorry.
Okay, sir, step over here for a second. I need to see your ID. You're being detained right
What's
now.
your what's your name and badge number?
That's not my name. Is right here.
Okay.
I need
What's
to see
badge
your.
number?
I need to see your ID. Or you
No,
need to give me
thank
some ID. It's not an option. Or I would take you to the station and get your ID.
Sir,
I think just to keep in mind, something to keep in mind, why I like to be really cautious with things. I think that if this person was, these people were black, somebody would say that this is racist. And that's just to keep in mind that we need to remember that, like, there's certain treatment of certain people that, like, might fit within a certain scheme that may or may not be racist. And so just try and keep that in mind, right? I very much like to very exclusively only call things racist when they are racist. And to be fair, I mean, I think I saw the cop's hand. The cop might be black, so I guess it could still be racist, but, or what have you. But, like, I very much like to be very specific when I call something racist, so that way I don't have a lot of, so that way I'm not wrong and there isn't a significant amount of blowback. Because I don't want to be in the business of calling everything racist when it isn't, or it's provably not, or what have you. So just try and be specific with your vernacular.
is this because I flicked you off?
No, you're aimlessly walking around here.
I came from my house.
Okay.
Came from
I'm
my
gonna put
house
you in
to
handcuffs
smoke a
right now.
cigarette.
Go ahead and stand up, and you go ahead and resist if you want to.
I'm not. What?
You're being detained.
Can you video?
Okay, have a seat. You have anything that's gonna stick me?
No. That's my wallet. If you really want my ID, that back.
Have a seat. Go ahead and stand up for me, sir. You have any weapons on you?
No.
I'm gonna pat you down for weapons.
Dude, we came to smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
I came from my house. My friend worked at Walgreens.
Okay, you're aimlessly walking around. There's been a lot of stuff that's going on around here.
Here, Sergeant Beckton informs the individuals that he was detaining them because he believed that they were, quote, aimlessly walking around.
What is-
and that there's been,
what is
quote,
that,
a lot of
DJen?
stuff going on around here. As discussed on many episodes of ATA, in order for an officer to detain a citizen, they must have met the reasonable suspicion standard set forth by the Supreme Court in the infamous 1968 Terry versus Ohio case. Although officers are not required to have reasonable suspicion of a
Amen. aimlessly,
crime.
yeah.
They still must be able to articulate a set of objective facts that would have led them to believe that an individual may have been involved in some type of criminal activity. Considering the set of facts that Sergeant Beckton was working with, it seems as though the only crime that he may have legitimately been able to build reasonable suspicion around would have been some type of loitering violation. However, neither the state of Missouri nor the municipality of University City have drafted any loitering laws that would be relevant to this situation. In fact, the only law that involves the concept of loitering in Missouri falls under Section 566.150 of the Missouri Revised Statutes and applies only to individuals who have been convicted of committing sex crimes. While many states outside of Missouri do have loitering laws on their books, there is a great deal of contention amongst legal scholars regarding the constitutionality of outlawing aimless wandering. The first significant challenge to general loitering laws was established in the 1972 Supreme Court case of Papachristou versus City of Jacksonville, where the court nullified a vagrancy ordinance due to vagueness and the fact that it, quote, encourages arbitrary and erratic arrests and convictions, it makes criminal activities that by modern standards are normally innocent, and it places almost unfettered discretion in the hands of the police. Therefore, it is highly unlikely that a court would uphold Sergeant Beckton's formulation of reasonable suspicion based purely on the notion that these individuals appear to be walking aimlessly down the street, even if Missouri did have a actionable ordinance against loitering.
Explaining to you what happened. Came from my house.
Okay, have a seat. Have a seat. And I'm asking you for your ID. Okay, give us your name. Is your ID in your wallet?
Yes. And I said I don't want to ID
Have you
myself.
put your hands down?
What's your last name?
Me?
Yeah.
What?
What's your social?
I don't know that by heart.
Wait, your social? Wait, do you give cops your social security number?
My phone.
Here, pull it up.
Well, I've never heard of this before. Wait, do you do this? The fuck? Your IG?
Yeah. Check them. 28s and 29s.
We do a bit of scamming.
Fragile ego, bro. All because I flicked you off.
No, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
Why is that of your concern? It might be disrespectful.
No, I'm not concerned about that.
Stop me.
You can do whatever you want to do, young man, but at the
That's
same
exactly
time,
what I was doing.
but if you aimlessly walking around here, I want to know.
not aimlessly walking
I want to
around.
know. I want to know.
purpose.
Listen to me. I'm letting you talk. Let me talk. Let me explain to you. We have every right to stop you to find out who you are and where you live.
Sergeant Beckton tells the individuals that officers have every right to stop a citizen to ascertain their identity and determine where they live. However, in the absence of reasonable suspicion, this statement could not be further from the truth. While the Supreme Court has routinely stated that there are no rigid guidelines for developing reasonable suspicion, the court has concluded that being in a high crime area and running from police was enough evidence to be detained for further investigation. In the 2000 Supreme Court case of Illinois versus Wardlow, the court reasoned that unprovoked running in an attempt to avoid officers is not suspicious in and of itself, but when coupled with the fact that it was done in a high crime area, it does warrant an investigation. This suggests that as little as two corresponding facts can serve as a basis for building enough reasonable suspicion to detain and investigate an individual, but they must be working in tandem, given that Sergeant Beckton specifically mentioned that there had been, quote, a lot of stuff going on around here, and assuming that he's referring to criminal activity, it could be argued that the area would be considered a high crime area by a court, along with essentially establishing
Wait, what is this bit that you linked me from Reddit?
requirements for reasonable suspicion. The Wardlow case also established the concept of a high crime area, but the Supreme Court failed to properly articulate what qualities an area must have in order to be considered high crime. This has led to such an open-ended interpretation of high crime areas that it is nearly impossible to assign a legitimate legal definition to the phrase. And high crime area.
What the fuck is that video? Who did this?
It is nearly impossible to assign a legitimate legal definition to the phrase. And high crime areas have been the subject of many legal studies and law reviews in an effort to suggest how they should be interpreted and applied to any given scenario. All that said, even if a court were to conclude that the area Sergeant Beckton stopped the individuals in was, in fact, a high crime area, the sergeant would still require at least one additional factor to satisfy the reasonable suspicion standard needed to initiate a detainment. And, as mentioned before, it is highly unlikely that a court would accept the notion that that aimlessly wandering was a legitimate factor to consider when developing reasonable suspicion. Even in stop and identify states, like Missouri, officers must have reasonable suspicion to detain and investigate citizens, and it is relatively clear from the body cam footage that Sergeant Beckton failed to meet that standard in any form
Wait, do
or
we
fashion.
even have to watch any more? I feel like this is so
Period.
cut and dry.
That's what you feel like.
How old are you?
22?
You're 22. Have you ever been arrested for anything?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any warrants right now?
No.
Okay. So where are you guys on your way to now?
Right
I was
this
gonna-
bench right here.
Okay.
Smoke a cigarette with my friend and go home.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
Jesus
I'm not talking
Christ,
to you
man.
right
This
now.
cop is so fucking cringe.
Okay, so you normally come over here
God
and go to
damn,
Walgreens, sit on the
dude.
bench.
Stop
not always
being
this bench,
weird,
sometimes
man.
it's-
Okay.
Sometimes we just stand.
Okay. But future reference, young man, you don't disrespect the police like that. You don't disrespect the
Okay.
police like that.
Yeah.
And you just aimlessly just walking around. I want to know. I'm doing my job. I want to know who you are and where you live.
Hoods too. We don't
Yeah,
know.
hoods are so super suspicious when it's cold outside.
They're just not good anymore.
And you can record, but step back a little bit. They're being detained. Go ahead and continue recording, but I want you to step away.
You see,
Absolutely.
a lot of danger going on.
And you still talking.
Yeah, because you guys are pieces of for stopping people who want to go on to break for a cigarette because I flicked you off. That now all of a sudden I'm acting suspicious. If I would have not flicked you off and we would have kept walking, you would have never. This stop never would have happened. You would have never accused me of doing suspicious activity. Correct?
this fucking kid is trying to fucking beat him with his debate skills.
I thought.
Oh, now you want me to answer your question? Okay. No, I don't. It doesn't work like that.
Sergeant Beckton tells one of the individuals that he shouldn't disrespect the police by making gestures at them, essentially confirming that the individual's gestures played some role in his decision to conduct an investigation. As discussed on many past episodes of ATA, the Supreme Court has concluded that obscene gestures, such as displaying the middle finger, are generally pronounced upon presiding episodes of ATA. Gesturing
I know. We've seen it. Is this it? Okay, this is it. All right, this one's a bit boring. Wait, what is this?
That he did not believe that Sergeant Beckton's conduct
Whoa.
obtained the body cam footage through a public records request. In a city council meeting that took place on October 11th, city manager Grewell involved in the interaction left the scene without further incident. Following the encounter, the primary individual involved in the interaction filed a formal complaint against Sergeant Beckton and obtained the body cam footage through a public records request. In a city council meeting that took place on October 11th, city manager Gregory Rose announced that an internal investigation had occurred and resulted in what he believed to be appropriate corrective action, but he did not disclose what exactly that action was. He went on to state that he did not believe that Sergeant Beckton's conduct was grossly negligible and that the chief and officers of the University City Police Department were committed to respecting the rights of University City citizens. It should be noted that Sergeant Beckton was previously sued for an alleged illegal seizure and unlawful arrest stemming from an incident that occurred in 2016. The individuals involved in today's interaction said that they intended to sue Sergeant Beckton as well and have already contacted the ACLU for help. Overall, Sergeant Beckton gets an F for displaying a fundamental misunderstanding of...
Yep.
Welcome to...
All right, hold up.